Oh my god, I'm being rudely interrupted. Let's try that again.
It's made in Paris.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, hello. Today I'm going to be giving you guys an updated highlight and contour routine. I actually uploaded a highlight and contour routine about 2 years ago, and that is like the most popular video on my channel, and for some reason it's literally still getting views. So I wanted to go ahead and give you guys an updated version to show you guys how to really snatch that face in 2021. So today I'm going to be giving you guys all of my tips and tricks on how to really, you know, sculpt your face, especially if you have a round or wide face. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Without further ado, let's get into the video. As you can see, I already did my eyebrows. I also applied my foundation. If you guys watched my recent video on my updated makeup tutorial, you guys would know that I don't put any foundation on my forehead, and I do that just to avoid my face looking cakey. I also went ahead and slicked my hair back so that you guys can see the cosmetic surgery that's about to take place. But yeah, so the first thing that you want to do is start laying down your concealer. I'm going to be using two different concealers today. The first one is the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, and the second one is the Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. All the shades that I'm going to be using are going to be down below in the description box. So I'm starting off with the NARS concealer, and I'm really just applying it to my chin. I'm going to apply this to my forehead. I have a big forehead, so I have space to add a good amount, but if your forehead isn't as big, make sure to keep this a little bit smaller. I'm going to apply this to the outside of my eyes as well. And then lastly, I'm going to be putting this in my Cupid's bow. I'm now going to be going in with the Born This Way concealer. This concealer is a bit lighter, and that's the reason why I'm using this second. I'm going to use this in the center of my face to really I don't know, give me a bright highlight. If you have a round face, you do want to make sure that you're not taking your concealer way too far out. I did try the TikTok trend before where they would leave just a little bit of concealer like that, but I don't know. I am a full coverage babe, and I just feel like that isn't enough concealer for me, so I'm going to be going in with more. I'm starting off by really concentrating it under my eyes first, like so. And then I'm going to be bringing it down a little bit. So I'm just bringing it down the sides of my nose. I don't really bring it on the actual nostrils anymore, but yeah. And then I'm also doing down the center of my face, or center of my nose rather. So this is pretty much my placement for my concealer. So instead of going in straight away and blending this out, I'm actually going to let this sit down and dry down a little bit so that I have the most coverage out of these concealers. So while I'm allowing this to sit down, I'm going to go ahead and start applying my contour. I like to use the Fenty Beauty cream bronzer. This stuff is literally crack. It's crack in packaging, okay? Anyways, this is really, really important. I used to make the mistake of taking my contour all the way to my mouth. If you have a round face and you're doing that, it's just going to accentuate the roundness even more, or the wideness even more. So what you want to do is actually start maybe applying it a bit further away from your mouth and just bringing it up. We're going for a really snatched look, so I'm going to go ahead and focus that contour, not concealer, that contour going upwards. So as you can see, I'm starting about in the center of the side of my face, and then I'm bringing it up. And you can go ahead and continue to build that product until it's to your liking. I like to place it in all the areas first. So also very important, you do not want to put any of this contour product at the top of your forehead. If you have a round face, you really want to elongate it and make it look long. So we're going to refrain from putting anything here, and we're going to refrain from putting anything here. So instead of having anything at the top, We're just gonna focus it on the sides. Just like so. I tried to do like dramatic baby hairs today. That might have been a mistake because now it's in the way of me really showing you guys what I'm doing. If you're going to be putting contour on your jawline, make sure that you're really being careful to blend it out properly. Guys, even me that I've been doing makeup for like however long, sometimes I still neglect that area when I'm blending and it just ends up looking crazy. So make sure you're really light-handed when you're applying it to this jawline area and make sure you blend it out as well as possible. So I'm just applying it to my jawline. Like so, and I like to bring it like at the start of my ear and then bring it down. Oh, I probably look so ugly talking like that. Anyways, ear, bring it down the jaw. Make sure you do the duck face so that you're able to really see where your like actual jaw structure is. Now that all of our contour is laid in all the areas that we want it, you can go ahead and start blending that out. Again, it's okay if some of the product ends up coming forward. We just don't want it to hit our like mouth. Make sure you're really taking your time to blend this in because the last thing you want is just super harsh contour. Like, it's just not cute. Trust me, I've been there. So make sure you're really taking your time to blend.
Boobies.
Now that I have blended out my contour, I can go ahead and start blending out my concealer. Don't worry, we're still going to go back in and blend the whole face again. So even if you don't have like a perfect blend just yet, do not worry. So before I go in and blend out all of this concealer, I'm actually going to go ahead and take a setting spray. I'm using the MORPHE Mattifying Continuous Setting Spray at the moment. I actually really like this setting spray. Like, it works so well. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and spray my face and then begin to blend out my concealer. Alright, one thing about me, I'm definitely a brush over beauty blender type of girl. So I like to go in first with my brush. This is like a Real Techniques, I'm not sure what kind of brush it is, but this brush, like look at how I just blended that out. It's really helpful to actually start on the edges first. That way you have more control of how wide everything is getting. And it's okay if it gets a little wide because you can still go back in with your contour later. And you don't necessarily have to take the concealer all the way up. I like to still stop it around right here. But I'm just patting all of this concealer in.
If you want this beat, then pay for it.
And because this brush is so fluffy, you can literally take it and buff out your edges as if you're like doing eyeshadow. Now I'm going to go ahead and blend under my Cupid's bow. I like to make sure not to bring this out too wide. Keep it right where like your lips end. And now we can get into blending my under eye. With your under eye, the first area that I like to blend out is this eye area. So instead of actually patting it, I like to take the brush and I literally just buff it out. All the way, like all the way. 2 years ago, I probably would have told you not to take the concealer all the way out if you have a round face. But honestly, you have to choose what kind of look you're going for. If you're going for a really like snatch and lifted look, you're gonna have to do it. You have to do it. If you don't really care for like, you know, having a really lifted and snatched look, then you can just honestly leave it here. But I like for my face to look like I just had Botox done. Now that I've done that, I'm going to start working on the inside of my face. When you're going to start blending out your under eye concealer, it's really important to actually start from the edges. buff the edges out first. This is going to make it much easier for your concealer and your contour to like marry. And work on both sides at the same time. This is going to ensure that you get a very even blend. So I'm working on the outside, and look how they're starting to blend out. Like, come on now. I don't know what it is about my confidence lately, but like I've been so confident lately. Like, I don't know where this boost is coming from, but I'm gonna embrace it because only Lord knows how long it's gonna last. Anyways, starting off with my edges, as you can see. And then I can begin to start concentrating on the actual under eye itself. Make sure you're actually getting like right under your eye. I see a lot of people make the mistake of not bringing that concealer right on that eyelid. If you really want your look to really look seamless, you need to make sure that your concealer is getting all the way up to that waterline. So make sure you're really getting under that eye, like get in there, okay? Next, you're gonna go ahead and start using this concealer on the side to carve out your nose. Honestly, when I'm doing this, the concealer just ends up getting on most of my nose anyways, which is fine because I end up going with contour later. And then I also like to just take that into my eye as well. This eye as well. And that is for the most part how we address the under eye. I know. I look crazy. I look like a mad woman, but it's okay. So before I actually go in and blend out my nose contour, I'm going to start working on this area again. So I'm going back in with the brush that I used to contour, and I'm going over that area again to bring that contour back in the areas where I may have, you know, covered with too much concealer. And honestly, I just continue going back and forth with it too until I like where everything is laying. Okay, so I'm pretty content with where that is sitting now. I'm taking this little brush and I'm going to blend out my nose contour. Sorry, I think my hand was in the way. One thing about my nose contour, I like to actually take this concealer and bring it up into my forehead and then use whatever excess is there as an extra highlight for my forehead. And then I'm bringing it back down. And I go in over any areas that I feel like I can blend a bit more. Before we go into contouring my nose, I'm actually going to take a beauty blender and I'm just going to blend everything that I have on my face so far. This is just going to make sure that everything looks seamless and blends into each other and like marries well. And I more so do this on the areas where like the contour and the highlight like meets. Going in with my contour just a little bit more because I really don't want to lose that color. And then as I'm blending my concealer, I also make sure to go around my mouth as well, just in case I brought my contour too like close to my mouth. Okay, so now that I've done that, we can go ahead and begin contouring our nose. I'm using the black Radiance foundation stick. I like to use this because that cream bronzer that I used before is just way too harsh for the nose. I like to go in with something a little bit lighter. I'm taking this all the way into my eyebrow. I personally am not afraid to lose the definition that I've created here, so I really go in and apply this generously. Like if you actually look at your eye, you can see where like that natural darkness hits. So just follow that with your contour. And then I'm going to go ahead and just bring that down my nose. And I make sure to stop before I hit like that roundness of my nostril. going towards the bottom of my nose. This is gonna lift your nose and give it more of like a button look. Very optional, but I think it looks cute, so I do that. And that's all I'm gonna do as far as placement. I just like to use a random fluffy brush, like an eyeshadow brush, and I just blend it out. I'm using circular motions, honestly almost as if I'm like applying eyeshadow. But yeah, don't be afraid to bring that product into your brow. It's really gonna like marry everything and make everything look really nice. As you can see, my nose is now starting to come together. Take your time. Very important to take your time. That is pretty much how I blend that out. I also do like to go back in with a beauty blender, and I just go along the sides to really blend that into the concealer that I have applied earlier. Going back in with my contour brush on the sides of my face again, just to ensure that I really have control over how wide my forehead looks. Okay, I said I was only going to use 2 concealers, so this step is completely optional. However, if you want that super bright under eye, you know, that UK babe, UK baddie look, you're going to have to do this step. So I take a concealer that is, you know, extremely light. I'm using the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear Concealer. For this, you want to be really careful. You don't want to take too much. You just want to do a little bit right in the center of your face. I know it looks very scary, but very essential if you want that bright under eye. I'm gonna go ahead and allow this concealer under my eye to set for a little bit. So in the meantime, I'm gonna start working on setting the rest of my face. But before I set my face, I do want to go in with my foundation brush. I'm not going in with any foundation actually, like physically, because I found that putting foundation right under my contour sometimes makes it look like too harsh. As you can see, it's starting to cut that concealer a bit. The same thing on the other side. Make sure you're also applying some to the bottom because we did put contour there. You don't want it to look harsh. So make sure you bring it down in that area as well. Now that we have sculpted out our contour, we can go ahead and start setting. So for setting powder, I like to use the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. I either use this or I use the RCMA. Those are like my 2 go-tos right now. I'm gonna take a dry beauty blender. This way I'm able to conserve as much product as possible, and I'm gonna begin gently dabbing it into the concealer. Only doing this in the areas that I know I'm not gonna go back in with any product. I can set my eyebrows. And now that I've given that concealer some time to sit, I can go ahead and blend that out now. And you don't want to bring this down too low. You don't want to bring it all the way down here. Make sure you're concentrating it right in that center area. I know it's going to look crazy right now, guys. Trust me and just trust the process, please. Like, I'm begging you. And I'm stopping it right here. I'm not going to use my brush to take it out because the brush, I feel like it still has some of the product and I don't want it to be like too bright on the sides of my face. So now I'm taking this and I'm bringing it downwards a little bit on the side of my nose, not over here, just the side of my nose to really sculpt out that contour that we did earlier. Doing the same thing to the other side. That's as far as I'm gonna go in terms of blending with the brush. I'm now gonna go in with my beauty blender and then just blend across the whole area. By doing this, you're able to still keep that product concentrated right under the eye while still being able to blend out the other areas. Okay, so now that we've applied all of our concealers, now I can begin to set my under eye. So I'm making sure I'm pressing it in. And I'm going all the way out because I did bring my concealer all the way out here. And I also use this as another opportunity to carve out my nose. And lastly, if I'm not going in with any like, you know, extravagant eyeshadow, I also set my eyes as well. So actually I lied, I'm going to go in with one more area. I'm going to go ahead and set this area of my face. However, I'm not going to use the Mercier. I'm actually going to use this black Opal powder. It's a True Color Soft Velvet Finishing Powder. Okay, so I allowed the powder to sit on my face for about, I want to say like 5 minutes or so. I'm going in with a fluffy brush and I'm going to go ahead and start brushing all this powder away. Like, just look at how matte that looks. Okay, so now that I've taken off all of my powder, I'm now going to go ahead and start using my pressed powders. Now this step also is not like mandatory, but I like to do this because it really gives my face like an airbrushed effect. I'm going to take a flat brush and I'm going to take my Maybelline Fit Me Press Powder. As you guys already know, if you've been watching my videos, I use this powder all the time. I'm going to press it in to the areas where I concealed. I'm using a lighter shade right under my eye. And just brush it downwards to blend that in. And I'm going in with a bit of a darker shade on the rest of my face. And if you have oily skin, this is really going to ensure that this product does not go anywhere. Like, guys, when I tell you I do clients' makeup and they're able to carry it to the next day, like, if you want your makeup to last, this is necessary. So the next step is to set your contour so it's not like shiny or anything. You honestly really could just go in with your translucent powder, but for me, I'm going to take a dark eyeshadow from my Morphe palette and I'm just going to use that to make everything look matte. Patting it in and also blending a little bit.
And pay for it.
Some people bronze, some people use blush, some people use both, some people don't use either. I like to go in with both. So I'm taking the FENTY Beauty Bronzer. Makeup Revolution has a very good dupe for this if you don't want to spend the money. I actually have both and I interchange between the two. I'm going to just apply it where my concealer and my contour meet. And I'm starting high up first. I am very heavy when it comes to the bronzer. I really like the way it looks. Some people don't like to use too much, but I don't know. I'm also going with some on the bottom of my nose as well as the top of my forehead. So just to have a little bit of product there, I'm going to go in very lightly. And also going in the areas where my concealer meets my contour on my forehead. I'm going to go in and apply that to my eyes as well. And this is not necessary, but it really just helps to tie the look in together. It makes it look seamless and, like, you know, cohesive, I guess. Yeah, cohesive is definitely the word that I'm looking for. Now I'm going to go in with a little bit of blush. Today I'm going for eyeshadow from the Juvia's Place palette. I'm mixing a pink and orange shade. I'm going to smile and apply. Like, that just looks so cute. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I'm just gonna take a little bit of highlighter on a brush and I'm gonna highlight the tip of my nose, like so. And this area right here, I don't know if it has a name, but yeah, this is just gonna help accentuate the nose contour that you did. So now that I've pretty much completed my base, I'm gonna go ahead and do my lips and apply my lashes off camera. Maybe I have some beauty marks too, we'll see. Alright you guys, so I went ahead and I did my lips, I applied my beauty marks, kind of went overboard with the beauty marks today, but you know, it's okay. And I applied my lashes, so this is pretty much the finished look. You guys can let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This is pretty much what I do to sculpt and, like, you know, really shape my face. You guys can go ahead and try some of these tips and tricks and let me know if they work out for you down in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.